Welcome back to another video, and just at the start here, I would just like to ask you all, if you guys like these Dome Keeper videos or my Minecraft videos more, because I can do either. I just decided to play some Dome Keeper today. But in this video, we're going to be talking about karma. And this is quite an interesting topic for me because I mean, my beliefs are a little bit all over the place. I don't really... Now, I'm not gonna talk about religion here. Just to clarify, this is all going to be beliefs in the sense of philosophical beliefs, things like that. But, I think one of the most common belief systems is karma. Bad attracts bad, good attracts good. And I think this is, overall, sort of the golden standard of society. It's like, well, if you're bad, bad things happen to you. And to a certain degree, yes, I agree with that. If you do bad things will happen to you. But, do bad things happen to you because you did bad things? That's sort of what we're going to be talking about today. So, I've always in my life tried to not be the jerk in this situation. I didn't do a really great job at it for certain times in my life, and I do say that's entirely my fault. There is no magic word that's gonna make it all go away. But, for a while, I wasn't a very good person, and I could tell, because I treated a lot of the people around me poorly. And I could tell that I was after I stopped doing it. And that's the problem right there, is that it's so hard to tell that you're doing a bad thing while you're doing that bad thing. But as soon as you start doing good things and you start getting good back from the world, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this feels so much better than that time I was doing that bad thing. Because I remember in my middle school years, which I guess isn't too big of a deal, I had this Dungeons and Dragons group. We had a podcast for a while. Don't try finding it; it doesn't exist anymore. But it was pretty fun in the time. But I feel like the reason I think it was really fun at the time is because I was playing the Dungeon Master and I was extremely controlling. Because, like, I did, and again, as I've talked about, I like telling stories, all that sort of stuff, and, like, I had a way I wanted the story to go, and I could not give it up. And so, eventually, the podcast ended, due to my own hubris. But, it was sort of a lesson learned situation. I've very recently revisited the podcast because I'm writing a book about it, because I did really want that story to go somewhere. It's just, middle school people, especially with, a bunch of people who have been on TikTok and all this sort of stuff their entire life. I think their attention span very much did not match mine. Because you probably don't know this, I was never allowed I wasn't even allowed YouTube while I was doing the podcast. I wasn't allowed on YouTube. The only way I could, like, consume media was, like, through either my parents showing it to me or my friends. And so, for a while, I stayed that way. I think it was around the time of the podcast that those restrictions started to loosen. And you can even look back at some of my old videos and you'll see me being a little bit, a little bit of a control freak in my Minecraft series back then. And I take full credit for that. I fully understand that what I did was wrong. I remember why I figured I was wrong too, because recently my friend group has changed, molded for years now. But I remember one of our friends was about to make the same mistake I was. He was about to pull that all dictatorship type, control everything in the friend group. And I sort of had to take him aside and say, this is what you're doing. I know the problem because I did it. Maybe you should check yourself, you know? And that's basically what I had to say to him. And he did, luckily. But, you know, it's just such an interesting thing that we all, and I guess it's another thing like power corrupts. That also goes along with karma, because, I mean, can you call power a good thing? In contexts, yes. But generally, power does. It corrupts. So, I mean, if we're going with the general concept of karma, and bad attracts bad, you know, that would explain why everybody's so bad about power and bad things happen to people in power, maybe because they're bad people. Well, I'm not saying everybody in power is a bad person. I'm just saying a lot of people. And it only takes that bit of power. It only takes that 3 people in the friend group going to your house to the sleepover instead of anybody else. You know, and that's all it takes. That's all the power you really need for that sort of mindset. It's just another thing I've liked to think about. But I eventually stopped being controlling. I said that I realized what I was doing wasn't correct. So I told everybody, I was like, hey, I just realized I was kind of being a jerk to all of you. I'm terribly sorry for all that I've done. And they all said, yeah, at least you admit it now, you know, after the fact. At least you figured it out. And I very much so appreciate all of my friends for that, if they're watching this video. I do appreciate them for that. That was very much so a vital step. Because if everybody, like, shuns you for being a bad person in your past and admitting to it, they're bad people. Like, that's just a general rule of thumb. But I figured out I was making this mistake, and I stopped making that mistake, and all of a sudden, my life was so much better. I don't know what happened, but it was just like something clicked. Something changed. I'm pretty sure it was the way I was treating other people, because that's the only other correlation I have. That, and I also got more mature, which very much is also part of it. But all of a sudden, I was just getting a lot more respect from other people. My friends were treating me better. And in a way, I still retained the same amount of power whenever I was being a control freak. It's just it's just not power, it's trust, which is just as powerful, but it doesn't corrupt as much. Because being genuine will always be, you know, sort of better than just having somebody do what you tell them to because they want to and not because they have to is a very stark contrast. This is basically what I'm trying to get at. And I've figured that out through multiple lessons I've had to take in my lifetime. And that's all life really is. That's another video I'll be making. It's just a series of mistakes and how you learn from them. And if you don't learn from them, the same mistake will keep happening over and over again. But that's been the main lesson. You know, I guess I can just ramble about this subject a bit more. You'll see, online, not online, I'd say, like, or just around society, that, generally speaking, people who do good things get good things. Like, the people who save somebody's life usually gets treated a little better than the guy who was standing there watching, you know? That's always what I like to think about. Well, it's kind of weird to say, but, you know, and there are so many, like, standards, especially now, because it's so, well, it's so hard to actually have an interaction with somebody else because they're all distracted on their phones all the time. I have another video about that. But they're so distracted, they're so enveloped in their phone that they don't notice the world around them. And part of that is really great for people who do good things, because doing a good thing has become so rare, and it's so sad to really think about that. But good actions have become a scarcity in our society. But that does mean if you decide to do the right thing, if you decide to do the good, usually you'll get a little bit more credit, which reinforces that habit of doing good things, which is a good thing, I guess. But you do just want people to always be doing good things. You know, it's sort of a two sides of the same sword type thing. You know, do you want less people helping out, but the people who are helping out recognized for helping out? Or do you want a lot more people helping, but a lot less recognition for them? You know, that can be... I guess either answer is technically right. Because either more good in the world, or people who want to do good more. They're both... I mean, they're not equal, but at least they're both about doing good, not doing evil. Yeah, I don't think many people in this world are actually evil. I mean, there are a couple, maybe, I could list. But everybody has that side of them. That not evil side. What am I even talking about? Ooh, another talking point. I think the reason I said... Oh, wait, nope, that's a different topic entirely. My brain is somewhere else, I apologize. In history class recently, we've been learning about, two things. The yin and the yang, and... Well, we've learned about Taoism, but I completely forgot about it. But... I really like the yin and the yin and the yang. It's like every act. I mean, it's a little stronger than just karma, the belief of karma. But like, it still has the general same ring to it. Of if you do a good thing, well, okay, that doesn't have the same general ring to it. I'm not sure what I'm talking about. But every action basically has a counteraction. That's what the yin and the yang stand for. If you have more yin, you'll get more yang. You know, that's just it's a proportion, basically. If you do great good, then great evil will befall the world. That's basically what they believe. And I feel like that's just an interesting way about thinking of it. Is it if you do good things, more good things will happen in the terms of karma and that sort of sense? Or is it if you do a good thing, counteraction, bad thing will happen? And of course there is the other concept, which I use a lot more from the yin and the yang, is that there is good in all evil and evil in all good. That is one of my favorite processes of thinking. I think especially because I'm a bit of a writer, that helps me sort of build characters. But, you know, I guess that's it. That's all. I will be recording more of these in the future. If you like this kind of content, stick around, like, subscribe, comment, whatever, and talk about what you believe, what your whole thing is. Is good going to provide the world with more good, or is it a counteraction? Or whatever it may be. Again, I've said it time and time again before, and I'll say it time and time again. These videos are made to start a conversation. So, if you want to start that conversation, I'll see you down in the comments. Bye.